If you like this episode of Big Boy Pants Golf, you have Trent Simon to thank. Yesterday in the comment section, he wrote, "Dude, I try to watch as much live commentary as possible." That's good for you. It's good for the brain. Hands down, you are the best. First time in my life anyone's ever said that to me. I don't care, either in person or on a text. Fan request for BBPG to analyze Brian Urlacher destroying Travis Fulton, but Fulton doesn't realize it. Once you phrase it like that, I am intrigued, and I will go and do this video. But also, if you don't like this video, you have to blame Trent Simon, not me. When Trent Simon said he watched every video on LIV, he meant it. When I watched this video this morning on Travis Fulton's YouTube channel, it was only at 452 views 5 days ago. I bet Travis Fulton blames Brian Urlacher for the lack of views. Let's begin this analysis. I sped through his high-tech intro, and then look at this. World-class analysis? We'll see about that.
And we're back, Stripe Show podcast.
This is going to be awesome because I'm sure Travis Fulton's going to come very well prepared to learn about what Brian Urlacher gained from his experience at the Pro-Am at the LIV Golf tournament. I just sped through this part because it's just Travis Fulton wasting Brian Urlacher's time.
Brian Urlacher, he joins me before he goes out and watches the 115, wait for it, shotgun start. How you doing, Brian?
Doing good. How are you? You don't seem very happy about the 115 start, Travis.
I hope this shtick between Travis and Brian was already pre-planned a little bit, and Travis hasn't just gotten off to a bad start.
Well, I mean, these guys got to get their sleep, right? I mean, we got to spend time with our family.
It's important. It's important.
Yeah, I mean, look, we got to get up and make the kids breakfast. A walk with...
The look down and laughter that Brian Urlacher does right there, he knows now that he's been Shanghai surprised by Travis Fulton, who's an anti-liver.
Do you have a hard time with the afternoon tee times on the PGA Tour as well? Like if you play really well on the weekend, are you mad that they get to tee off at 2:30 both days?
Urlacher is not working at ESPN as an analyst anymore because he gives zero leeway, like not a millimeter. And he's already pushing back on Travis Fulton, and it only gets more interesting from here.
Does that make you mad?
Yes. Everything about LIV makes Travis Fulton mad, even if it applies to other sports or other situations. Very inconsistent.
Well, you like the shot. No, wait, let's talk about the shotgun start.
You didn't answer my question, though.
No.
Does it make you mad? Okay.
Well, you earned it.
Some people take a sip of the PGA Tour Kool-Aid. Travis Fulton did a keg stand.
You earned
Right?
it.
Yeah, you earned it.
We'll get back to that in a minute. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but see,
Okay,
that's the difference. You earned that afternoon tee
So the
time.
players on this tour didn't earn their tee times by...
Well, some of them did.
Well, obviously they all did or they wouldn't be out here.
Yeah. Well, they're out there because they got... Anyway, we'll get to that.
At this point, every topic brought up, hilarity ensues. It's the same pattern. Travis Fulton tries to throw out some snarkiness, something that's off point. Brian Urlacher pushes back, and Travis Fulton doesn't really have a response except for to go on to the next point, which he doesn't have any response to when Brian Urlacher gives a counterpoint. Let's all enjoy this together.
Okay, all right. We got time.
We got to that.
time,
We're going to
Travis.
get to that, right? As you can tell, and Brian and I, we've had a nice spirited debate back and forth over the last
Yes. Instagram.
over the last few months on Instagram. And as you can tell, Brian, on my platform, like, you know, a lot of people come after me.
And Travis blocks them after asking them not to be such a meanie.
And look, I'm open-minded about the LIV. I'm a rational thinking person here.
Simply not true on either account.
Right?
Yes.
And I'm very open-minded about it. And I can see it from a lot of different angles.
But none of the angles that Brian Urlacher brings up.
Some I like, some I don't like.
Yeah.
The way Brian Urlacher said yeah actually meant no.
Here you have this LIV series who has money basically just falling out of their ears.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just throwing it up in the air and everybody gets some.
After Urlacher sees Travis swing his arms around like that, that yeah meant I completely regret agreeing to do this interview.
And then everybody's coming over and playing in this now organized event. And I give them a lot of credit for what they've pulled off.
Yeah.
Do a shot every time Urlacher says yeah in disgust.
Get it to this point. But there's certainly a lot of opinions on both sides.
Yeah.
I want to start here because you played in the Pro-Am yesterday.
Yeah.
So just explain to my viewers, you're there, you went through the Pro-Am experience.
7 minutes in, and we're finally getting questions about Brian Urlacher's insight as to what it was like playing on the Pro-Am for the LIV Golf Tour. This is why this video is 56 minutes long.
It was fun.
Big Boy Pants Golf is going to focus on the selected portions that really show the interplay between Fulton and Urlacher.
I think as a former team player myself with guys, you know, on a football team, I think it's pretty cool to have that aspect part of it. You actually got to talk to the guys more because you weren't like, it wasn't a go play your own ball thing and go all over the place. So I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Was it like a $10 million purse?
I don't know if Travis Fulton warms up for his podcast by watching that movie Mean Girls, but here's some snarkiness.
For the Pro-Am too? Like,
You're really hung up on this money, Travis.
Oh,
No,
I mean,
I'm just
asking.
I mean,
Urlacher doesn't play Travis Fulton's game, just answers earnestly with the facts.
I don't think there was a $10 million purse given out for the Pro-Am.
You can see that Travis is unhappy that he didn't get a bite, so he looks down and he's got another zinger coming up.
what? Let me ask you about this team competition. You've played in team sports. I mean, football is the ultimate team sport.
After spending minutes talking about how football is a team sport, Travis finally gets to his next point, which is the same point that Rich Eisen's been bringing up. This team idea is ridiculous. Let's watch.
Yeah, I love the team atmosphere. This is great. It's one of the reasons why I came over there. Like, really? I mean, do you really think it's genuine, the team aspect for these players?
I'm going to save you a few minutes of your life and just sum it up by saying Brian Urlacher states because these guys are on such a coordinated schedule, it does foster this teamwork feel.
I mean, so like Dustin Johnson's the captain, right?
Yes.
Travis then tries to diminish the fact that the captain would have any say with any of his players, and everyone's bringing up the fact that Pat Perez is shooting 80 every round. But there is still a lot of money at stake for the team portion.
Say you have a job and you get bonuses. I'm assuming you want to achieve those bonuses.
I'm going to step here and answer this one, Travis. The first place team of 4 men will split $3 million if you win. $750,000 is a pretty good incentive to actually care about how the team does.
Well,
No,
if I sign for 125 million and it's in my pocket,
that money's guaranteed for sure. No, that's a fact. So they have to fulfill their obligations. So it's not guaranteed until they fulfill their obligation.
Right. The other half.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
Urlacher should be in law school.
Because you
Well,
said
the
they
other
got
half.
the. You said they got. Oh, hold on,
Yeah,
hold on.
60,
You said they got 125 million in their pocket.
That is a fact. Travis did say that. And Brian's holding his feet to the fire.
But then you said they got half. Because they have to fulfill their obligation.
That's fair. What do they have to play in, like 4 events?
I mean, at this point, should I really continue with this analysis? Travis Fulton calls Brian Urlacher out there to do a podcast with him about the LIV Golf Tour and doesn't even know there's 8 events this year. You seem to have no knowledge of this subject matter, and yet you want to be snarky against a guy who's very, very knowledgeable.
Right? You know, so they can spend time with their. No, it's more than that. They have to play in
8 events this year. Yeah.
Nothing like being shown up by the guest on your podcast in which you chose the topic. You could have just read the Wikipedia or something. Travis, you have to do some research before you have guests on. Otherwise, you're going to end up with less than 550 subscribers, wasting Brian Urlacher's time.
Year. Yeah, they have to play in 8 events, and then
Next year, there's 14 events next year.
At this point, Brian Urlacher shows off his amazing golf knowledge because it is a golf podcast, and he seems to almost be covering for Travis Fulton, who doesn't seem to have any golf knowledge.
I think Charles Schwartzel, Louis Oosthuizen, South Africans have a pretty good team as well. I saw them on stage the other night.
You can clearly see Travis Fulton trying to Jimmy Kimmel snark it up and just waiting for the perfect opportunity. But Brian Urlacher is handling this like a pro, dropping some major golf knowledge.
You're out of the tournament, but you want the team aspect is still alive. You want to play well.
Yeah.
When you say yup and you're looking down, it comes off as a little dismissive.
All right, we're gonna break this down here for a second.
All right.
I'm gonna challenge you here on a few different angles.
Travis says this after Urlacher has been challenging him on every angle.
The first angle is, and this is gonna be easy for you because we're gonna look at this.
I'm just saving you a few minutes of rambling.
They go get the money. You're
Well,
cool with that, right? Like they're like,
Oh.
you are 100% like, go get it, knock yourself out.
So Travis, essentially, you went on for about 2 or 3 minutes, and your point is, are you okay with those professional golfers getting the money? That was it.
Well, yeah, I have no problem with that. But what has Phil got to prove on the PGA Tour that he hasn't done besides win the U.S. Open?
See, that's where I get a little bit. That's where I get a little bit like weird about this. Like because I don't think that, and we're getting to this like from the game's perspective. I don't think it's the best thing for the game because like as a player, if the only reason I'm playing is because of the money, which I know like that's the number one thing. I get it. But even in football, I mean, were you not playing for something other than money? Weren't you playing for someone else?
I wanted to win a championship.
It's weird here because Travis seems to be saying that if you choose to play for money, you can't play for your legacy or for the glory of the game. But why can't you do that on the LIV Tour and be a superstar on the LIV Tour and then continue to build your more traditional legacy in the majors?
Do people think about their legacy at those sports? Do you think they're really concerned about, okay, when I leave golf behind, I want to leave it this way, but I want to be broke when I leave. But I left the game in a better spot. I don't have any money. And my legacy, my family legacy, we'll see. But my golf legacy or my football legacy, that's going to live on for a long time. How do you feel about that?
That's fair.
This does seem like a tryout to be an announcer on the LIV Golf Tour for Brian Urlacher, especially now that apparently Charles Barkley is out.
No, I think that's a fair
your
point,
legacy, in my opinion, your legacy is your family.
Travis, with his hand over his mouth, wishes he had prepared a little bit better.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point. I've thought a lot about that with legacy. I think that's overdone a little bit.
Hard pivot by Travis makes a mental note to never bring up the legacy point again.
Now, I do think like at the highest level, like Phil, I think there's a black eye there with Phil because Phil's one of the greatest players.
Brian Urlacher's facial expression means he's not going to give up that point either.
So I think like there is a little black eye for Phil. I do. The way he went down, he dragged the PGA Tour along with him through the coals.
Travis just keeps going to these hand gestures. Can't really articulate his position.
Right.
Well, so didn't the PGA Tour just find a whole bunch of money for these new purses or something like that towards the end of the season?
Brian Urlacher knows the facts. Phil was right. Travis, let's move to the next point.
Was Jay Monahan digging in his backyard and found an extra $50 million or $38 million for the rest of the season here? Did something like that just happen?
Yes, they did find a lot more money suddenly to compete with the LIV Tour purses.
Yeah.
But I'm a fan of golf, so I want to watch as much. I watch women's golf.
That's a bit much.
Like we know where the money's coming from. It's uncomfortable.
At this stage in the game, if you're bringing up, this Saudi money, I'm uncomfortable with it. Well, you're obviously going to get the question, well, are you uncomfortable with China money? Or why weren't you uncomfortable with the Saudi money when it was funding the Aramco Golf Series? Or with the PGA Tour having 27 sponsors making $40 billion a year in Saudi Arabia? That's going to be the natural question to you, so you should have an answer for it by this point.
Yeah.
No, for me, it's uncomfortable. But they
what makes it uncomfortable? What do you mean where the money's coming from? Like,
it's a direct. I mean, look. I mean, I don't think it's any secret that the Saudi Arabia government is a little bit, uncomfortable, right, with their involvement with 9/11 and with their human rights issues.
Yeah, there's some questionable. So isn't there? Someone told me there's like 20 something or 23 sponsors on the PGA Tour that have Saudi backing as well.
Yeah,
and that's okay.
You see Travis's eyes get big and he backs up in his chair. I don't know if he knew this fact before, but he certainly doesn't have a counterpoint to it like he should have had he done any research on this matter.
as long as it's not directly from Saudi Arabia. It's okay for the PGA Tour to be tied to those companies that have Saudi backing, but it's not okay when it's directly from Saudi Arabia.
Travis and everyone else who's pro PGA Tour drinking that Kool-Aid should have a response to this question right now. Why is it okay for the PGA Tour sponsors to do business in Saudi Arabia? It comes up all the time and there's never an answer. It's just, let's just switch to the next subject.
Is that correct? Is that what you're saying?
I think that's fair.
Travis should be paying Brian at this point because he's literally just taking a lesson from him.
Like if I'm working directly with the Saudi Arabian government and they're signing my check versus me going over here and getting gas.
Oh, no,
right?
now it's a little more than getting gas with these sponsors for the PGA Tour.
27 companies doing $40 billion in revenue in Saudi Arabia each year. And don't forget, you also have the Shell Houston Open. Shell's another big gas company accused of greenwashing. A lot of this stuff with the companies, it seems like they're the ones trying to cover up their image despite their environmental harm, etc.
They're directly tied with Saudi Arabia. And that's okay for them to do that. But when these guys go over there and do that, then it's an issue. When it's not okay, when it's now and this point, I'm not okay. 9/11 bugs me as well. But so if they're directly responsible for 9/11, why didn't USA go fight Saudi Arabia instead of Iraq?
These are the moments where Travis just takes a pen and starts making notes. He's just looking down, taking notes about what Brian's saying. Like, Google this later or something.
No,
or Iran, where I don't. That confuses me too.
And that gets into the whole political world.
There's a lot of things that confuse me and I don't know all the ins and outs. Yeah. So I just know what.
It's fair. It's fair to be uncomfortable.
It's a fair. Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Just to recap, Travis says that the Saudi money, it makes him uncomfortable. After Brian starts asking some fair points, Travis says now that it's fair to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's fair. Like it's uncomfortable. I mean, it's like, okay. I mean, am I willing to look past that? Am I okay with it? Well, that's your prerogative, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I think you have to.
Travis is now trying to smoothly exit from this it's fair to be uncomfortable position.
Yeah, I wonder if the guys in the NBA have a hard time taking money like from China and stuff like that. You think it's hard for them?
Travis just probably jotted that question down and is like, Brian, I'll get back to you on that one.
No.
Okay, I'm just curious because there's some questionable.
I don't think
I feel like this is not the NBA. I know that, but I feel like there's some questionable dealings that go on in China as well. Possibly, I don't know a lot about it. I haven't been there. I haven't seen it firsthand. But I feel like there's some things that may go on there. But the NBA got no problem dealing with them either.
Brian Urlacher is just running up the score.
Well, and I think the other aspect of this is why is Saudi Arabia doing this? So that's the other aspect of it. Like, well, why you guys are obviously very smart in your investments over here.
Yeah.
But now you're just going to throw cash at the top players and hijack professional game in some ways.
It's like Travis gets daily memos from Jay Monahan on what to say. The whole, it's an irrational threat because they can't see how it's going to make money. It's a startup. It takes time to make money.
So what is why?
What is why? Man, this is not a way to ask questions.
So that's where the sports washing comes in.
Travis pushes the sports washing narrative by saying the word sports washing and then just checks it off his little list. Mission accomplished.
You can't find anyone to cover these events.
If anyone's friends with Brian Urlacher, maybe tell him to check out Big Boy Pants Golf. I'll get him on, and we'll be running on the same playbook. Just go deep, helmet, boom, boom, just ringing up points. Don't do this with these kind of Travis Fulton guys who don't know the facts. We're going to go dark deep. So deep. I'm talking that Black Silk Road deep.
You have to really do your research.
Travis has opinions. He doesn't need research.
Look, when your business model is just,
you're trying to make your investments happy, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's like,
yeah,
right? Like when it's not a business model.
Well, we don't know that yet, Travis. I mean, this is the first this will be the third event.
It's hard watching a guy it's a golf podcast. This guy teaches golf. He's getting owned by a non-golfer. And for some reason, it feels like Travis thinks he's winning because he's just keeping track of ball possession time and not who's scoring points.